Hello and welcome to episode 67 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Oh, it's just another week, innit, Jake?
Yeah, nothing happened, did it? There's nothing important that happened, was there?
Yeah, just another week being a League One team, you know. There was nothing that went
important.
on that could have changed that, really. Nah, it's
I'm sure I'm missing something that we did Friday and Monday, but I still can't remember what it is.
mm,
Oh yeah, this week has sucked. It really have been bad. We'll start with the usual, shall we? How's your week been?
Is it even relevant? I know, I am one for keeping the mania and the stupidness of our podcast there.
There isn't much there. It's deflating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's deflating, and it's also interesting watching social media just go into meltdown all of a sudden.
But I also saw it coming.
Yeah.
So there was that. I was much more confident, and then we sort of came round to it, and I sort of thought, oh no, we are quite inconsistent, aren't we? And if Inconsistent Wednesday turns up, then we're in trouble. It just so happens that was the Wednesday that turned up. And
the thing that got me is you actually look at what Alex Neil done since they come in. That's only their third goal they conceded away from home.
Yeah.
Since he come in, he has actually done an amazing job for them, annoyingly.
They did the new manager bounce thing at the right time, bringing it. Yeah. I said Alex Neil was a manager that, before we got Darren Moore, that I'd have been interested to see us get him. He's a good manager.
He knows what he's doing.
He does. So obviously Sheffield Wednesday have got another season in League One ahead of them. We unfortunately failed in the second leg of the playoffs, drawing 1-1 with Sunderland at Hillsborough. I actually broke my own rule, and even I didn't chant massively, but even I was singing quite a bit because you can't not in that atmosphere. Yeah. And I woke up this morning like, oh no,
my voice is dead.
Yeah, I wasn't too bad, to be fair. I was quite quiet compared to those around me. But yeah, no, it was, in terms of the match in general, it was. I'll go into what you thought of the match, but I'll go into the day a little bit more first. It was a nice day.
Yes.
Right, to start. Before all of that, it was a nice day. The atmosphere was brilliant. There was loads of Wednesday outs out. I came from work, and then took me ages to move anywhere in Sheffield because
traffic.
All them fans trying to get to the stadium. It was nice. Viewers of the podcast, that I said on the last podcast, please do say hello if you want to say hello. Don't feel like you can't, because it's awkward, because it's like small community and all of that. Yeah. People said hello. They were like, "You're YouTube man." I was like, "I am YouTube man." That's my official title.
That's a step up from Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right? There was, I had a few chats with quite a few people. Good to see. Everybody really nice and respectful. Everybody really positive and encouraging. It's probably a good thing I spoke to people pretty much before the match. After the match, I just sort of ran, because I was like, nope,
not doing this.
I'm gone. Not doing this. Not having this.
We have a podcast for that. Join in.
Everybody I met and had a chat with was lovely. So it's really nice to go and meet people who watch the content and see them. And also it's really nice to, because I think a lot of, it was heightened because there was a lot of Wednesdayites there that potentially sometimes wouldn't be there as well. So there was even more people that I didn't recognise that I got to chat with. And I was sat in a different, I said I was sat in a different part. I've been sitting in different parts each match I've been at this season. Well, I can't. I've repeated a few because there is still that spot in the cop that I really enjoy. But I have been trying to go to different parts, and I thought, do you know what? It'll be a laugh to go to the end of the north, near the away fans, for this one. So I sat in that end of the north when I got my ticket, and I'll tell you something, mate. The north is loud nowadays.
Very loud, yeah.
It's louder than the cop.
It didn't used to be.
I was on the north as a kid, right?
Yeah.
When I used to go as a kid, we were on the north because I was a kid and I wanted the view of the whole pitch.
Yeah.
Right. So I went there, and then as I got sort of teenage years, I moved on to the Cop. But as a kid, I was always on the North, and I know it was the atmosphere there, but I've sat on the North a few times this season, and I do think it's probably the loudest stand at the minute. Probably.
But do you think it because you've got a generation that's been on the Cop for so many years who are now migrating into that generation?
That's exactly what I think it is.
Where they want to be on the North and they want to see the pit, because I got to that point where I used to be always on the Cop and I was like, I want to see the full thing. See, because there's so much different things you can see when you can see the entire pitch. You can see the triangles. You can see that ball that maybe a player's not seen and shout, he's there. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. I get that. It's but no, it's just sad that we didn't get the result to go with the atmosphere. But let's talk about it then, Jake. Let's do our traditional Talking Wednesday start for the match. What did you think to the match? Talk us through it.
Which one are we starting with first? Sunderland, their place? Go in order?
Yeah. We got to do really. It's the rules.
They nullified our attack. They did very well at keeping our midfield quiet. And we noticed this season, if you keep our midfield quiet, we're done. That's our entire attacking side done, because there's nothing we can do. And to be honest with you, I thought we were very lucky not to come away with a battering in that game. Bailey pulled off some really good saves. And Hutch, I don't know what you're doing. Kick it in Rose Head. That's what I got taught as a kid. You kick it in Rose Head. None of this playing it back to the keeper. And the annoying thing, that's been our model this season. Play it back to Bailey. He'll lump it forward, or play it back and we'll do those little triangles at the back. You can't do that when you've got a striker like Stewart who's fast, who will get in your face and pinch that ball off you. And up until, I say, the 73rd minute in that game, they sat back and they're like, right, just come at us. Because we got the job done. We nullified your midfield. This is what we've seen that happened all year. And they managed to keep us quiet, and we just didn't really have anything. And Windass came on to try and change it. And don't get me wrong, it was great to see Windass playing and getting those game time. But it just wasn't there. But you had a funny feeling going into that second leg, we could do something with our home recorders. There was that belief because we could.
It was that it's only one, Yeah. And if we turn it on, we can I thought all along I'd have been more nervous about trying to hold on to a lead, because that's what Wednesday don't do very well, than being able to, attack. That is one thing that I will say, actually. I got more nervous when we scored in the second leg than I'd been all the time. I was like, no, because we've got this feeling now, and my heart started beating a lot faster. The belief is there. Yeah, and it was like, no, I don't like this now. It was weird.
The interesting thing is what Darren Moore said, because I thought he set us up to go for a draw, but he said in the interview after, no, I didn't. That's how they managed to play us. And it was interesting because I thought it did look like that was the tactic, but if you're in that league, you know what you've got to do to our game to stop us playing, and that needs to be something that needs to be looked at next year, because we can't have that every season kind of thing. We can't have it on that reliance. But first leg, I thought we might have something here. Second leg, all the build-up come in. It's full out. You're getting ready. You're thinking Bannan will look a little bit better, because he didn't look great in that game. He was still quite leggy. You could tell he probably could have done with another rep before the game on TV, but I understand why he's going to play it by Bannan. He does that. He's going to leave it all on the pitch.
We needed him.
Yeah. And second leg, we did go for it, and we really did try and make things work. And the refereeing, and I'm not going to point on it too much, but that referee was absolutely horrendous.
Oh, I will. I love to moan about referees. I do. It's kind of become a thing. But it's only become a thing because they're god-awful.
Awful. Yeah, that was definitely a penalty, because he stopped Windass from getting to the ball, like pulling his leg away.
Mate, I ain't even watched it back. I ain't watched it back.
There was tackles that were going in on our players with no cards at all. But then the exact same tackle going on a Wednesday player would do something similar, and it'd then be a yellow. That tackle on Byers, he took his knee out.
Yeah,
his knee got taken out, and It's like he didn't want to upset Sunderland, but he didn't want it to like, oh, I'm going to give advantage because this is a loud crowd. No, we just want you to referee it like a proper referee.
Him and the linesman, especially the linesman on the north side, they bottled it a bit. They buckled under the pressure of it a little bit, and I wasn't impressed. Again, I'm not impressed with the officiating. No. I mean, there was. You say on Sunderland's perspective, I think Windass handballed it on one of our attacks earlier in the year, and they didn't call that either. And the linesman were right in front of it.
If there was VAR, Windass would have probably been sent off for stamping on the lad's foot.
Again, I've not watched anything Batman, so I've only seen things in the stadium. So
I've seen bit today, which I've gone back on. There was a bit where it's an off-the-ball incident, and Windass damps on the lad's foot. He looked down and damps on him. You have VAR, that's looking at a red card.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like usually, I do my due diligence, and after I've been to a match, I'll watch it again to look at. To be fair,
you don't want to watch it again.
I'm not doing
today.
It again.
Yeah, it was awful doing it today. I was like, I've got to. But we played with a lot more attacking, and we looked better. But they still managed to nullify us a little bit. We were playing that too much hoofball, trying to latch onto someone, and corners were interesting. They were working, but they knew what to do. Like they knew the ball would go into the back post of Story all the time to head it back into play. So they just man marked him out the entire equation. Second half, you come to it, you're thinking, right, we've got a bit of attack going here. We're starting to get going, but then that horrible collision with Hutch on that corner, it kind of put everything into perspective because he left the field all blooded. He was out cold. You could tell he was having to be helped off the pitch. He was all over the place.
It looked very MMA. I have seen the pictures of that afterwards, like because I didn't realise how bad it was. I thought, their keeper's going to be down for 5 years here.
No,
in this, and then bad. I saw it and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So and at that point, they was about to bring Lang and Patterson on, and they changed it to Palmer. And
who was solid, by the way.
Yeah, and to all the people saying, "Oh, he's at fault for the goal." No, he's not. It just when they got tired legs. That's the whole thing.
I thought if anything, looking at that where I was sat, Lang could have sprinted backwards a bit more, couldn't he?
Lang was just jogging, and this whole situation. You get that goal though by Gregory, that belief, the eruption of the fans, but you could tell that they were going to try and go for either a quick break or they were going to just go to extra time because we ran our arses off, pardon my friend. We did. We just ran out of steam because we were trying to get that other goal. Bailey pulled off some good save, but when they got that goal, it was the situation thing of when you're a Wednesday fan, when you know that we concede in added time all the time and then the 10 minutes, you knew it was coming.
Yeah, I as I said, I didn't really complain about the 10 minutes because for me, I did want us to reset, go back in, have a quick chat and reset for extra time. But I did think that 10 minutes is actually the first time I've seen a ref, in fairness to them, add the right amount of time on because there was a lot of stoppages and it was Sunderland managing the game a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
I think there should have been longer than 3 in the first half, to be honest. But it was... I can't really blame Sunderland for it. They didn't manage it as badly as we've seen, but we did know whenever they could, they were going to sit down. And everybody was like, here we go. Okay, they've got the ball. We knew what was going to happen. The problem is with Wednesday, especially, we seem to be obsessed with playing out from the back, but I'm still, even now, and I've said this a few times this season, I'm not convinced we've got the right players to do it.
No.
Because it gives me fear, man, whenever we do it. And the thing is though, man, we go to the defenders, and we will then just launch it kind of like into the middle of the park anyway, and then we play header tennis for 5 years because we can't get it down. So that's not really playing out from the back. The keeper might as well boot it if we're going to do that.
Yeah, and it's like that ball that came to Bailey. Like you could tell he didn't want it, and it went back to him. He had to clear it for a throw-in. And you could see him going, "What are you doing? I don't want this." It's like. The annoying thing is that you either get accused of being hoofball if you knock it long and people don't like that, or if you play it from the back, like you said, you've got to have the players. And I think with what Moore did in the summer, I think he might have known he didn't have the player, but he liked to play out from the back and he just went with it.
Yeah.
And he didn't change it. And that's where Moore is a little bit where he needs to improve next season. He needs to fit the players to different systems. You can't just use the same system with the same set of players because it's not going to work.
No, I think the thing is, it's going to be interesting to see if he can get players to fit that system rather than having to just get players and adapt them to his system. You could look for players for a specific system. There's more options there. Speaking of Darren Moore, let's talk about what he said following the defeat. This is taken from the club website. I don't know. Did the play before I go into this? By the way, did the players? I walked straight out. I didn't wait to. I don't usually do this. It's just the feeling I had in my stomach. I couldn't stay and clap the players at the end. I was like,
they clapped. They clapped, and there was a lot of players on the floor. And the hardest part is actually seeing someone who I'm seeing to be now in my generation, probably yours, Barry Bannan, a club legend. He will go down as even if he doesn't get us up. Trying his hardest to get it done, and again, it's another season where he feels like he's the one that's let him down, and it's not.
Well, that's how you should feel as captain, and I respect him for that. But we'll talk about Bannan a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So Darren Moore has issued a vote of thanks to Wednesdayites. Darren Moore has issued a vote of thanks to Wednesdayites following a devastating defeat to Sunderland in the playoffs. It's the only time I'm going to smile about it because I can't speak. The second leg tie at Hillsborough was played in an intense atmosphere, which went flat when the Wearsiders equalised on the night in stoppage time. And Moore, speaking in his post-match media conference, sent a searing message to fans. He said, "I would like to thank every single one of them because their support has been unbelievable throughout the season. Tonight, they created such an amazing atmosphere, but we couldn't get over the line. There was very little between the two teams, over 180 minutes of football, and Sunderland have taken it by the finest of margins. When we scored, the atmosphere was out of this world. We are privileged to have a support of this level. This season has been all about the here and now, and it's come to the end of the road. Our season ends and we now regroup, refocus and plan for the next season." Reflecting on the campaign as a whole, Moore said there are platforms in place on which to build for next season. He said, "We amassed 85 points, over 20 players scoring goals, finishing in 4th position. We have things to build on. We have a very disappointed and quiet dressing room right now, as you would expect. I've spoken to them, but I don't think my words will penetrate because their minds will still be on the game. From the campaign as a whole, there are positives, but obviously right now it doesn't feel like that because we have come to the end of the road. We will pick ourselves up, dust ourselves down, and regroup and go again." So that was Darren Moore at the end of the match. You know, you can't really say much other than we'll give it another go. What do you think to his reaction to it?
I think the reaction's pretty much spot on, to be fair, because I don't think you can go ranting and raving at those players for that performance. He knows, he'll know deep down there'll be bits that he wanted to do differently in the season, in those games. And I have the whole situation with it that I'm interested to see what Darren Moore does with season 2, because I think he's going to get a season 2.
We'll talk about that in a minute, man. Read the document.
No, I have read it, but I'm not going to go into it. I'm just saying.
Lads. Yeah,
it's what you kind of expect from him, kind of thing. Because he's right. There's nothing he can say to them. They've done it all and left it out there. But if you're going to try and recruit next season, you play that video. You play the video where when they full and go, this is what you can play for week in, week out. And the one thing I completely forgot to mention, Bayer's nearly got an amazing overhead kick.
Yeah.
The technique for that
I had
was
that on
superb.
camera. It was the one thing I was just like, because I'll be honest, I half-arsed that vlog, as you can probably tell if you watched it, right? Because I was like, I guess why I don't vlog, but I said if we got to the playoffs, it'd be one I would do. Right.
Too invested in what you're watching.
That was the one bit of actual match footage I think I had, the overhead kick.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you imagine if that had gone in? I'd have actually got it on camera and then probably broke my phone in the process because I wouldn't even think I was filming. I just lobbed it. I will say, when that got everybody, like, there's a chance I've got COVID, just saying, because when that Gregory goal went in, which we didn't even talk about, by the way, when you were summing up the match, right? That killer ball from Bannan through.
Superb.
For Gregory, and then, gets everything alive. Everybody just grabbed everybody that was near to them and was going mental. Flair came straight down over my head. Like, it was those moments are what you live for in football. And it's just so sad to think that that's in League One.
Yeah.
We don't have enough to cheer for.
And this was, if you look at it, this was, for a lot of people, this should have been the final and this should have been a Premiership tie. But both clubs are there because of the situation we've been in. We said this in the past. And it's, the thing is, going forward, which we'll talk about in a minute, at some point in the episode, we just gotta have that belief, and if we can make moments like this, it makes recruiting players easier.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you see the atmosphere, and you see that atmosphere in League One, and finances allowing, right? And that's the big if. We could be in trouble again, but finances allowing. You see that and you go, people who weren't too sure about Wednesday in League One and being a stable club in League One, a club that have just finished 4th on 85 points, quite close to automatics, could have very easily got automatics if they didn't do stupid things right in certain matches.
Well, you look at that if ref weren't stupid and that Wickham goal gone in, we're second.
Yeah, exactly. But you look at players, you look at situations like that, players will look at that, look at the atmosphere that can be created in League One, and they'll go, do you know what, that's actually a team that's going the right places. So if you're going to look at clubs that are in League One, you go for them. You go for them over a Derby who are coming down, because you've got the inconsistency. People weren't too sure about signing for Wednesday last season, remember when we came down? They didn't really know what was going to be the balancing act of a relegation. So we did want to reach out to people, so we put it on the Talking Word Twitter, at Talking Word. We did go into the Discord. We wanted to get the community's feelings about it all. I said, so what are your feelings about the playoffs and what are Wednesday's next steps? Lewis Turgoose writes in and goes, they gave it everything they could, and they were playing against a team hell-bent on not letting us get any momentum. People slagging the team and manager off need to do one. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, but we're also entitled to tell them they're clueless. Some of our fans, man. So Lewis very much on the side there of, let's not overreact to this. We've had a good season. And I would agree, we've had a good season on the whole, the back end of it. If we'd have ironed out the stupidity and the gelling, if we didn't have that gelling period, I've been saying that for a long time.
It only gelled at Christmas. Yeah,
exactly. If we'd have been able, you'd hope we keep the core of the squad together now because the gel's already there. The squad can already, do it. And it would be exciting.
I will say something. You said on the financial aspect, even if he hasn't got a lot of money to spend, we've seen what Darren Moore can do with no budget. So I'm not worried.
It's more about player retention, because when do you start to panic and sell the likes of Barry Bannan? You sell the likes of Windass when money comes in for them, Craig,
we don't know. We've never seen Chansiri do it.
No. Craig Hay writes in and says, still struggling with it, to be honest. It was like Huddersfield all over again. A strange choice on the bench. No central midfield option was puzzling. If Moore is to stay, he needs to address his forward options. It's not good enough to take Gregory out. To take Gregory out, you take goals out. So it's not good enough to take Gregory out, you take goals out. Injuries haven't helped, however. Players like Windass and Aorfa, who seem to have a season ticket for the treatment room, need to we need to get fit, younger and hungrier players in the squad ready to go again.
To his point, though, we have got 21 goals from different people.
20.
We haven't 20 or 21.
20.
We've had 20 different goal scores, so we haven't just overly relied on Gregory. But I do understand what you're saying, and I just realised we did have it with Chansiri. He sold Joe. Been a long,
good old Portuguese Joe.
Hey up, Joe. It's Zhao.
Oh, mate. No, I see what we're saying there. Gregory sort of he's bagged quite a few goals in the same game, so his numbers have bumped up there. A fit Gregory this season would have been incredible, but we can't just rely on Gregory. Berahino, if he'd have started firing a bit earlier, would have been a very different picture. So I know what we do need younger players. Then again, we've got a good balance of age in the squad, I think. So as long as we keep along those lines.
We're the second oldest team in League One, I think.
Are we?
Just behind Wickham. Wickham have got a 29 and average, and ours is 28.
Yeah, then again, they have got a 39-year-old striker. So
Yeah.
There's that. I don't think our squad's necessarily an old one. Then again, we have had some old players recently. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Recent years. Going on to the Discord comments now. Hubert Hubdub says, we played well, felt like the ref was against us winning. I am hopeful for next season, but afraid we are losing a bunch of players with contracts running out and some not wanting to play League One football for another season. I think Darren Moore is the man to lead us, and he could take us to promotion next season, judging by the looks of this season. I hope he takes what he's learned and applies it for the upcoming season ahead. Up the Owls. We agree with the ref, Hubdub.
Yep.
The Darren Moore thing's interesting. We'll talk about that in a bit of detail in a little bit while. We also going to talk about player retention. We're gonna split some topics off into different podcasts because there's some that we really can focus on well.
Yeah.
And in a playoffs one, we're not going to talk too much about that now. We'd rather go into it in detail because that's what you expect. You don't expect the rush from us, you expect the quality. So we're going to bring the quality into that there when we talk about all of that. Bob123 writes in and goes, last night I think we played okay. The ref did us dirty and automatics has to be the goal for next season. I think Moore should definitely keep his job. I think we need to ship out 1 or 2 players and get a good 5 or 6 players in. 1 or 2 flair players that can turn a game on their own and a permanent keeper, a striker and a couple of centre-backs. So Dean potentially on a free would be, if we can bring his wages down, wages will be a thing there that I could see being one of the centre-backs. Permanent keeper again, there's the likes of Dawson. I think actually
Dawson
take on that,
he's probably going to be a permanent keeper next season.
My take on that is it should be.
If you look at what Darren Moore said about what Cameron's done there, because he turned around and said, I rang him after he found out he got promotion, immediately after congratulated him, and we'd had people going up and watching him. He'd gone and done what we said that's been needed from a lot of our players in the past. Go out and go get a full season under your belt. Go get that experience playing week in, week out, especially if you're a goalkeeper. That is crucial. He'd gone there, and people say, oh, he's rubbish. You've beat some of the fans he's been on loan at Exeter.
Exeter want to keep him. Yeah, and they're going to be the same league as us next season.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk again. We'll talk about we've got a packed document today. We'll talk about Cam a little bit more when we talk about a goalkeeper we're linked with. We'll talk about all of that. Tom writes in, he says, can't say it didn't destroy me to have a bit of hope with Gregory's goal and then it's soon taken away soon after. We played all right. Referee had a Sunderland shirt underneath his black top, I reckon. To say Moore got us where we are with no money to spend isn't a small feat. Although I'm scared for next season, we won't have a freshly relegated bounce-back appeal that might attract higher players to come down to League One. Didn't even read this fully before I went in. I was just saying that, Tom. Need a new keeper, since I doubt we'll get Bailey again on loan. Hopefully we'll have a better defence with the squad fresh next season. Without a doubt, need another striker or two, someone to bring the clinical edge and stop us having 50 shots and 2 on target every game, yeah. Because if we can't keep Gregory fit, we need a striker.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a few I would be interested in seeing us sign. So we'll discuss that in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Lewis Owl98 wrote in and said, I think we looked tired in areas. The first leg we went out to try and stop them and pretty much did bar one mistake. Second leg we were the better team against 12 men. Ref being the 12th.
See the theme here.
And they got through on 2 avoidable mistakes. Their second goal was definitely avoidable. Moving on, I think we keep more in the aim for the top spot. Now we know what the league is about. We need to try and play like Sunderland did yesterday. We are too kind to these something kicker. You can figure out that word there. League One teams. Feces kicker. League One teams. Let's spend in the summer, but spend sensibly. Players I'd go for, Scott Twine, Alfie May, Ross Stewart. Be tough if they go up, I'm going to say. Either way, I 1,000,000%, I believe that is with the zeros, trust Darren Moore and his recruitment. A lot of support there from Lewis L98. The ref is definitely a theme.
Also, just on your going after players, I doubt he'll go after Alfie May. He let him go at Donny.
Yeah, that's true.
He had him at Donny, and I think it could be that he just didn't work at Donny, but he let him go. But I understand what you're saying. We need to go for that, and got Twine going championship. There's no way MK are keeping hold of him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think when you said that bit about us needing to toughen up a little bit, I've seen that quite a bit. Be interesting to see what sort of players we could bring in to fit that for Wednesday, really. And one thing I do want to talk about is the avoidable mistakes. Everybody, and I mean everybody, right? Imagine, and just imagine this, right? If Liam Palmer was the one that made the mistake instead of Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Because all I have seen, and I'm not saying you should slate Hutchinson, by the way, but all I have seen on Twitter is because the fan base like him, all I have seen is support for Hutchinson. When arguably, he's never coming on this podcast after this, arguably, his mistake cost us the tie.
Yeah. I
don't personally believe that, because I believe there's more to that, but there is an argument for that, and I just think if it wasn't Sam Hutchinson, if it was Liam Palmer,
it would be even worse.
For example, can you imagine the backlash that there'd be there?
I've already seen the backlash of people saying it was Palmer's fault for the second goal, Sunderland goal at home, kind of thing. He tried to get in between the player and the ball. He did try, and the thing is, Palmer, for some reason, a lot of the football Twitter lot and social media lot, they hate him. For some reason, they hate him. They don't see it, and I don't get it. He's always put a shift in. He's improved under more. Yeah, you might disagree.
I'm tired of saying it. I'm literally tired of saying it, man. We say it all the time.
I don't get it. Like, there was somebody who tweeted and said, if you think Liam Palmer is a good footballer, you need to go to a doctor. Well, it looks like I'm making an appointment to a doctor tomorrow then.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did find that there is a hypocrisy in a lot of the vocal minority with you'll say, oh, Hutch, he's the man. Oh, Sammy, you know, and I was chanting it. You know,
I like Hutch, but Hutch have made some very bad mistakes this season, and no one picked up on it and said anything because it's Sam Hutchinson. We said it on the podcast. If Sam doesn't dawdle around with it there, or if he clears it, we're okay. It's like, but if it's a Palmer, if it's a Johnson at the beginning kind of thing, it's like, if your face don't fit with some of the fans, you might as well just put your transfer request in.
This is controversial, right, in the fan base. But if you're playing a back three for me, I put Palmer in over Hutch. Because I think Palmer actually has done all right as part of that, you know, coming out and moving to the side. I used to think Hutch would be brilliant in the centre of that to come out of that. But because we play such a high line, him being able to get done on the turn like he was done on the turn against Sunderland, you know, with that overreach there, when you're pressing that high.
He can't get back. He ain't got the leg to get back. Leaf with Palmer, he's still got the legs to run back.
I wouldn't say Hutch is necessarily slow, but he's not rapid, is he?
No.
And I don't know. I personally could see us keeping Hutch on, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. But we need to look at how we assess our players and how much stick we give to certain players like Palmer. It's not on, especially when we don't do it. It's not consistent across the board for all our players, you know? Tomo0706 writes in and goes, and this was actually last night during the match. I've included this one in there. It was actually at 1:16 this morning. So a few of us, I think, had been thinking about it. My vlog went up at 1:30. So hard to really throw shade over any players in particular over the two legs, which is strange given the performance of the first leg specifically. However, I'm afraid the one player that does stick out is Luongo. Thought he was very, very pedestrian in both games. Our midfield was non-existent in the first leg, of which he is usually the anchor of. And almost likewise in the second leg, he absolutely wasn't at the races at all. Don't get me wrong, brilliant player at this level, and it will be a shame when he does inevitably leave this summer. However, in this playoff contest, he has been abysmal. Up the Owls. I was thinking this when I was watching the match last night. I was like, Luongo cannot get in this game. And I know you could say that about a lot of players, but Luongo did stick out to me when I was watching it.
He didn't have his usual calmness when he was going in tackles or trying to clear up. And I don't know. It's a weird one because he's one that I think he's definitely going in the summer. I don't think we're going to be able to keep him. And the problem is they got is, right, we've now lost, I'm going to say a name that can upset some people or trigger them, Joey Pelopessi, who was great in that role. And now we're going to lose Luongo, who's great in that role. We're going to have to get someone completely brand new in that role.
Do you keep Sammy on and just put him back in the midfield and watch him get 5 red cards?
Hey, that'll make the whole bingo fun.
Yeah. I do think Luongo's going to go. I also think it makes business sense for us to let Luongo go.
He's going to be on a lot of wages.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, you want a CDM that we can potentially develop a little bit more.
Well, the thing is that this is where I want us to start looking a bit smarter. We've got the experience in this squad.
Adeniran.
Yeah.
Adeniran.
Adeniran, whatever you want to say. He was playing that role for a bit that season, wasn't he?
Options.
But
yeah, thank you for getting in touch about the match. I think we all still feel a bit numb from it. I guess you've got to say congratulations to Sunderland there.
Yeah.
I kind of, in a weird way, Sunderland for me are a team I think we can beat in this league. But from a Wednesday perspective, you kind of want to play them again next season because we're more likely to take points off Sunderland than we are off Wickham if they beat Wickham, because Wickham will just Wickham. I've got a soft. I've had a soft spot for Wickham since that promotion, but this season's been really tough with how anti-football they are.
I think everyone had a soft spot until we played them. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't think they really did that in the Championship.
No. I'll also say, here's what I was thinking. You know this 60-minute trial they're going to do with the stop clock? So they're going to, if you don't know, if you're not up to date on this, they're trialing some matches where it's 60 minutes, 30-minute halves, and then the ref stops the clock whenever there's a stoppage at all. The ball goes out of play, it's stopped. Yeah. Which would stop the cheating. The thing is, you'd have to rely on the actual effective nature of the third officials and the officials to actually do this correctly, which could go... I can see the great side of it to stop the cheating and the time wasting, but I also have the thing that, like, we're trying we're putting more responsibility on the officials.
Quick, do your stopwatch. It's out of play. Quick.
Well, no, you'd have to have it on a big screen so you know they've actually stopped the clock, because otherwise you'd be like, there'd be no transparency there. It'd be weird. It would be weird.
Can you imagine just holding it like a bloody substitution board and just go, clock, it stopped.
Yeah.
And then putting it down.
I think they'd probably put it onto the screens, but we'll see if that trial actually works. We don't like changing football, do we?
No.
Okay. Here's the controversial topic.
Yep.
The one that's going around, because it's obviously going to go around when Sheffield Wednesday have just failed to get promoted, despite arguably a decent season.
I don't have a tin hat in here. So.
You don't have a tin hat. Well, we're only presenting ideas. We're not saying this is our thoughts, as you will find out in a minute. Should Darren Moore be sacked?
Your podcast hasn't broken. What do you think? Yeah.
What do you think? Because there's a lot of talk over, he's taken us as far as he can take us. We haven't had that. We're going to start purely by just going off what people have wrote into us. We didn't ask this as a specific question, but when we asked about thoughts, I think a lot of people, especially in our community, felt like they saw all the negativity about Moore's not the man and had to jump on it. So the people that wrote into us were mainly on the side of Moore, and we're going to... Well, actually, I think all of them were.
Nearly all of them
because nobody wrote... It's interesting, isn't it? The people that write into the podcast don't seem to hate on Moore, which is interesting. Tom Wright wrote in and said, keep Moore. Came a massive way from this time last year. Have an opportunity to let him build on what we have already achieved. Bit of money to help as well. Looking forward to next season. Hopefully it'll be like the back end of this season. Thunderchuffer writes in, give him one more season. If no promotion is coming, then get rid. I can see that as well. I can see that. Finn Sanderson writes in big capital letters, keep Darren Moore. We need to give him time to keep this project going. Last night was a tough night, but nothing Darren Moore could have done to prevent it. We came into the game with a mountain to climb. Sawyer Maka writes in and says, keep Moore, give him money to spend. Look at how much he's improved and how much pull he has when he has no money to spend at all. Regroup and go again next season. Absolutely gutted, don't get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world. Back stronger and better next season. Bertram Sir writes in and says, simple, top 2 next season. Moore has earned the right to have another go at it. So they were writing to us across Twitter and Discord, and I am on the side of he needs another season at it. Surely he does. We finished 4th.
We were 4th on 85 points. We got the best home record of anybody in that league.
Scored the most corners apparently as well.
Still don't get that fact. That still blows my mind.
Yeah.
But you can't keep having this situation where change manager where it don't go. If that's the case, summer and January we're having manager transfers every season as well as players, and we'll do that if you're going to keep chopping and changing managers. Look at, and people go, that's Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp came into a Liverpool team that was dire. It was nowhere near it, and they let him slowly but surely build on it. It wasn't at the rate. You look at that Liverpool team now, yes, it's Liverpool. They've got the money.
I was going to say, that's a hell of a comparison.
They can get the players in, but they let him build. They let him slowly build it. Wilder built. You let managers have time to build something. You don't get rid of them after 1 or 2 seasons and go, that's enough, you're done. I understand with the saying, if he doesn't make it next year, I'm probably right. He probably will have to go because we'll have to look at a different way of doing it. But you look at what Darren Moore's improved already. We've got coaches that he wanted. They're not coaches that Chansiri giving him. The coaches he said, I want the people in. He got a recruitment set up that looks like it's second to none when you look at who we brought in with no money. What can he do with a bit of cash behind him? Because he won't have a lot, but he'll have enough to get somebody and someone decent, and he knows to contact. The only bit with Darren Moore for me that is an issue, tactically he can sometimes be a bit poor. He doesn't have that plan B. He's slowly looking at plan B. You've seen
his subs are a bit weird, aren't they?
His subs are a bit weird. And if he can get this team to concentrate for the full 90 and plus, we'd be a lot better, because I don't see this whole chopping and changing managers all the time, because then you've got a new system, then you've got a new coaching setup. And also, if you're thinking about saving money and sustainability, it's going to cost you more money each time.
Yeah. I saw something that was pretty spot on actually on Twitter earlier, and apologies to the tweeter of this. I didn't note it down. It was just on the feed. Imagine if Gary Megson had got us 4th on 84 points. How many people would have been actually calling for his head?
It's like the Liam Palmer debate all over again.
Yeah, it is. There is accountability there. Yes, probably with the squad we've got now, you would say we should have been getting automatics. We got close, actually, after a dreadful start to the season as those players had to pick up time and gel.
Well, hang on. It wasn't a bad start to season. We had a great start to season, because at one point we were like 1st or 2nd. It was between October to December where it all crumbled.
That usual fall off. Sorry, that's what I mean really. And it was about that time of just making sure we had the players on the same wavelength. We had options there. Injuries have been awful. We've said that about Wednesday for loads of seasons now. Injuries have been a problem. That's going to happen no matter what, and it seems to happen to Wednesday a lot. Gregory being fitter than he was would have helped us. Windass, yeah, it would have changed things up. Iorfa was out for ages,
Yeah,
we didn't have. I remember at one point he was having to play 2 fullbacks at centre back.
Yeah,
because we had no centre back. We had none.
Yeah,
we actually played someone from our academy, Bannan, who then got injured.
This is the thing where I hope that during this season, and always heard there's an investigation going on to why the injuries are happening. I hope there's a big PowerPoint presentation at the end of this season going, this is where it's all coming from. This needs fixing. I will take a little bit out of my transfer budget to get this fixed.
I don't know how you fix it, but to be honest, I think I want to see what Darren Moore's like with a bit of money. There's some people that have said on the other side of it, I'd actually be concerned to see him give him money because if he's not tactically great and we bring him in, we let him bring in players for all that. I'm like, but the players he's brought in on nothing have been great.
Yeah.
For the level. As long as he keeps that sensible approach to it and uses his contacts and uses that relationship he's got with players and clearly the rapport he builds, I don't want to lose that sort of togetherness that we felt this season that we didn't feel last season and we've not felt for a little while. There's been a disconnect there.
I don't want to lose that culture that a lot of players have said this season. There's a culture here now. And we've not had that for like 2 or 3 seasons. Like, Karloff built a culture. Then I think Steve Bruce is on his way to building one, and then that went how it did. We've not had that kind of situation where you see the players talk about Darren Moore. They respect him. There's respect there for him. They respect the coaching staff who they work with every day. And it doesn't feel like the Gary Monk and Josh Dave where there was always something coming out to the media. There was always something out. There was always a leak. There was always something to say. We don't like this because. We don't like this
negativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see him given another shot, but I do think it's sort of like as he will know and all the players will know, right? If we fail again this coming season, we're in trouble. We're already in trouble, right? We'll be in bigger trouble because we'll be in a case of like, oh, this is a couple of seasons now. Sheffield Wednesday should be going for the top 2. We should be going to win the league next season with the momentum we have built on the back end of this season. We have got to have the mentality that anything that is not a win isn't acceptable. And I think if you can build that into the club and bring the right players and the right mindset in there, and I do think Darren Moore's got good links to be able to bring those sort of players in, then
but can we also say we had, in this season, we had the hoodoo of not going from behind away for ages, for a year. We had the home hoodoo that was from like 2017. We got rid of that this season. The last 2 games of the season, we came from behind to win them.
Yeah.
Darren Moore done really well to get that sorted. It's like building a net part of their mental strength and not being so fragile at the back in the net kind of thing, because I think he'd earned a second chance, because any other season, and we say this all the time, and it seems like it's always the case with Wednesday, but any other season, that automatic promotion, you're up. Next season going to be hard when you bring in some of the teams that have come down and teams that have come up. But I said at the start of the season, I thought we'd be mid-table. We might need a year to get to know this league. Right, we've got to know this league now. We know what they're about. Go for it now.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know what you think in the comments about Darren Moore and whether he should be Sheffield Wednesday manager going into the 22-23 season when we play the likes of Forest Green Rovers.
And Bristol Rovers, who, Jesus Christ, their last game of the season was impressive.
I don't even know, mate. That's the thing. I'm so far disconnected from League 2. I've never thought about League 2. And now
they needed a swing of 5 goals and they got 7 goals to go up automatically.
In the last match?
Last match, it was 7-0. They won. 85th minute, it came 7th. They won automatics.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's got match fixing written all over it.
Well, it's Joey Barton.
Hey, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Alleged that.
Yeah.
We're full of him today. So, there were some rumours before the playoffs, right? This is ridiculous, right? Because this came from a liked tweet and somebody putting 2 and 2 together and then somebody saying that they'd heard something and then no. And basically people talking a load of crap. But you can logistically look at this.
Yeah.
Could Barry Bannan leave Sheffield Wednesday, right? He's got a year left on his contract. We've just failed to go up via the playoffs. He likes something of Luton Town's about them, doing well this season. Luton have appeared to be interested in him before. Would he go? Do you think Barry Bannan's going to leave next season?
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think there's still... I actually did a bit of a kind of... We all know he moved back to Nottingham to be closer to his in-laws for childcare for his little one. And I kind of did, how long does it take to get to each place? And like it's 1 hour 50. I think it's 1 hour, it's close to 2 hours to get to Luton than it is to get to Wednesday. I was trying to think out travel, but I can't.
That'd worry me more about Forest, because Forest could have Bannan in that midfield like
that. Exactly. You know? That's something else you got to think. And especially if they go up, that could be the law he needs. Oh, I'm going to Premiership.
It'd be the Premier League, yes, because we're not in Scotland,
Premier League,
Jake.
yeah.
And it's not 2001 anymore. But
I think he will stay, but it could be interesting to see who does come in to have a look at to buy him and what Chancery will accept to buy him as well. Let's also remember that, because we know what Chancery is like for saying, I want this much for players. And what is he 33 now?
He's not. I think he's 32. He's got Gregory's 33.
But you can't. There's some price tags that you can put on players where they're your best player, like Barry Bannan. But now the older you get, some club might say, "Okay, we'll take that chance to see what we can do." But some club will be put off by it, and you see how much he's ingrained himself into the Wednesday family, and bringing his own family now into it, and how you see all the cute little things that Wednesdays have with the social media with his daughter getting really into it and stuff. It's going to be very interesting to see if we can keep him and how we keep him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he is 32, by the way.
Try to make you older.
He's the way he spoke last night. We'll talk about what he said after the match. So, straight after the match, he was interviewed, and I will just say, in that interview, you could see he just looked broken. He was like, mate, again,
can you not interview me, but I know why you interview him on Club Captain.
Yeah. He said, in quote, "It's hard to take. It's obviously still so early and I'm just gutted. It's really hard to find the words to sum it up. I'm sure it will sink in over the next few days, but it's hard to take and to speak now and tell you how I'm feeling. I'm obviously not feeling great. We felt the goal was coming and we spoke about it at half-time. We knew if we kept doing what we were doing, we would score by getting into more dangerous positions. We get a goal and the fans... I looked around after the goal, it was amazing. So to let them down was hard to take, but they were unbelievable and they didn't deserve it. They deserve to be going to Wembley and having a good day out and be back in the Championship. Fair play to Sunderland, they were good over the 2 legs and did what they needed to do to get into the final, but no matter what is said now, it hurts and it will hurt for a little while. Acknowledging the crowd could have done no more, Bannan added, they gave us everything. It's hard to say how thankful we are and the boys appreciate everything they have done for us this season. They have been fantastic and I can only apologise that we couldn't get over the line for them and give them that day out at Wembley, but we will be back next year and trying hard again for them. Now, he was also asked directly by Rob Staten, I believe. It sounded like Rob. On one of the things I watched, who said,
do you think you're going to be here next year?
This wasn't on the club because I think they keep bits for... Yeah, he says, do you think you'll be here next year? And he said... He sort of like looks at the ground straight away. Again, I wouldn't read too much into that because he said he'd need to talk to his family and everything, but he expects to be back here. He expects to, to go again.
A lot of people did read into that though and went, oh, he's off then. If he'd got to talk to his family and stuff and how he was. It's like, just remember the context of where he'd been interviewed and how he is. Don't read his body language to that, I'm off there, lad, enough. No, he just put his heart and sleeve on the line again.
You've also got he's got to talk to his family and go, do I stay where I... This is the conversation you have with your family, right? And it's probably, your wife. You go, do I stay where I'm loved and where I enjoy my football and I enjoy this club and we don't get the big final payday? Or do a club that come in for me that are going to give us that big final payday in maybe a couple of years do we do that? That's what Barry Bannan's probably going to be faced with this summer.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's tricky because it's also a case of, do Wednesday need to, if he is one of the, he's not, somebody had a go at him on Twitter about what he
I absolutely love, but do you hear it? Do you see his reply back?
Yeah.
I love Bannan's reply back. It was just like,
how much do you think I'm on, mate? Seriously, like,
you're not my agent, kind of thing. It's like, you've been at me all season, having a go at me. It's like, people said, you shouldn't do that, but it's like, no, he's been at him all season. He's allowed to do this.
Oh no, it definitely is. Like, you could tell he usually holds back with stuff like that, but we just lost the playoffs. He was having a pop again straight away. He'd atted him. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to have a pop at Barry about it and what he earns. He doesn't earn anywhere near the stuff that has been reported, and he even says that the stuff that is said it, because the 12K thing goes around a lot. And I remember he used to say, I know he definitely said, I wish I was on 20K.
Yeah.
But if 12K is accurate for a player of Barry Bannan, 12K a week, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, in League One, but it's Barry Bannan, right?
Also, Barry Bannan, the kind of player who I could see say, if the club says, look, if an offer comes into it, we might have to seriously consider. And I can see him turn around and say, well, I want to say, can I have a go at renegotiating my contract, maybe? If he's at that point where he's loved, he likes it, his family's happy here, well, let's try and renegotiate my contract so we can get it to work.
Well, you also do the thing of, like, for me, because this is because I love Barry Bannan, so this is from my perspective here, right? It's a case of, I would say, you give Barry Bannan and you say, look, we give you a longer contract, but we need to phase down the wage, but we're going to give you a coaching role afterwards. You're going to stay in the game. You're going to be integrated into this club, if that was something he was interested in doing. And he is captain, obviously. He said on Twitter the following day after the playoffs, where do I start? Last night we came up short, but I'm so proud of my team and staff that have been on this journey with me this season. We gave our all to the very end. Keep your heads up. The fans, wow, best I've seen at Hillsborough. Thanks again. You're amazing. And obviously everybody was like, is this a goodbye, Barry?
I don't think it is. I think it's just him doing his usual club captain and saying to the fans, and Josh Windass put something up as well going, we go again. And a lot of the players are going, we go again. And so there's that togetherness there, and but something like this could be what gives Wednesday that chip on the shoulder where we play a little bit aggressively in League One to go. We know what it's like. We don't want to do that again.
Oh, yeah. No, we are winning. If we can strengthen the team, if Barry Bannan stays.
Going up,
and he stays. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because now we've gelled. If we can play like we have on the back half of this season, we just need the consistency there. Yeah. Barry Bannan is ripping teams apart. What I did notice is I knew Bannan wasn't as fit as he'd like to be for the playoffs, because usually, when he turns a man, he was looking for the pass more. That he loves to step on it and turn a man on his arse, usually, doesn't he? He didn't do that. He didn't do that in the playoffs, and I was like, that's where I know you're not at full fitness, because you don't trust yourself not to lose the ball there because of your fitness levels, because of the knock. But yeah, Barry Bannan, how essential is he to Sheffield Wednesday? Let us know what you think. Okay, we're into the news after an hour on the record time, probably about 50-odd minutes on the actual podcast. We're finally into the news, even though a lot of it's news. The news isn't that long. Barry Bannan, speaking of Barry Bannan, has got a Team of the Season card.
Yep.
So he's in the EFL Team of the Season if you're into FIFA. It is an 88 rated centre mid card. He's got 80 pace, 84 shooting, 90 passing, 91 dribbling, 72 defending, and 84 physical. It's going for around 30k if you want to buy it. And just his acceleration is 91.
Yeah.
His pace overall is 80. His sprint speed is 71. So he's not too bad. His finishing is 80. His shot power is 90. His long shots are 87. And his volleys are 90. And he's a good penalty taker. He's an 85 rated penalty taker. I've not used him yet. I need to get him and use him. His vision is 92. His crossing is 87. Short pass 90, long pass 95, his curve is 91, and he can take free kicks at 84. He's going straight in, mate. I might put him up front for Christ's sake here. 76 strength isn't the worst either. His aggression's 93. Is that because he's Scottish? Is that what they've done there? Don't tell your wife I said that. Anyway. Barry Bannan also won our Player of the Season.
Yep.
So he was awarded the Fans Player of the Season. We won't go into the article on that one, but he has been awarded the Fans Player of the Season. Congratulations, Barry. Please stay for another one.
Yep.
This is from The Star. Sheffield Wednesday linked with move for League One goalkeeper as Bailey Peacock-Farrell's successor search begins, says reports. The Northern Ireland number one is on loan from Burnley and has kept 17 clean sheets in 48 appearances across all competitions. It's been made clear the goalkeeper is on a development mission at Wednesday with the chosen club due to the pressure and expectation on players. There has nothing been confirmed yet on next season's plan for the 25-year-old. It seems unlikely at current that Hillsborough will be a repeat destination, particularly if, and we have failed our mission to get back to the Championship there. So, back in March, he told the Star, football is strange. I've got a good couple of years left at Burnley. Football is weird. One thing can happen and your plan for next year has gone out the window. I'm focusing on finishing this season well. I'll go back in the summer and what will be will be. I'm focusing on right now. That's all you can do in this game. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So that's the bit about Bailey there. Former Doncaster Rovers goalkeeper Marco Morosi has been linked with a move to Sheffield Wednesday. So the 72 have been reporting this about Morosi. Played for Rovers. He kept 14 clean sheets in his 46 League One outings this season. Wigan and Coventry are also not interested. Sorry, he's 28 and he's played for Wigan and Coventry. He's got one cap for Slovakia's under 21s, and he's 6'4". He joined Shrewsbury in the summer on a 3-year contract after the expiry of his Coventry contract. So it would be one that Wednesday would have to pay for. In terms of goalkeeper situations at the minute, we've got Cameron Dawson coming back on loan off Exeter. Bailey Peacock-Farrell's obviously on loan. Joe Wildsmith's running out of contract. So it would make a sense we'd be in for a keeper. What do you think?
We're definitely going to be in for a keeper because you got to think it Cam, new keeper, and then a youth team keeper who get a step up on the bench if need be, kind of thing. And I understand
specifically Marco Morosi, though. I want you to talk.
I understand the link up here because he's former Doncaster. I spoke to some Donny fans at the weekend, said he's not too bad as a keeper. It's going to be difficult to replace Bailey after what he's done this season. And if this is somebody who's already worked, it goes down the Berahino thing. If you've got a keeper that's already worked with Darren, you already know what kind of football you play. So you might have a keeper that already knows how to play out from the back. So you're not having to teach it him. And 14 clean sheets in 46 League One outings, that ain't that bad. That's actually decent. And he knows the league.
He does know the league.
We're not having to have a keeper jump in and go, oh, I don't know this league. Step up, try and figure it out, if you know what I mean. But I think it's Cameron to lose.
I'm slightly concerned about this because I think it's Cameron's to lose, right? Because if this is true and we are interested in him and Darren wants to sign him as our first choice, it means he doesn't back Cameron to be our number one. Which then makes me go, where do we sit with that?
But could it be that we get Cameron and we get some sort of old veteran who sits on the bench?
Yes, but that is not Marco Morosi, mate, and that is the crux of it.
The problem is I'm not too sure if a lot of this has come out due to it being he worked with Darren before. That's
and they're sort of digging for it, maybe. Well, let's look at his FIFA card anyway. 67 overall. He's a rare silver. 69 diving, 69 reflexes, 63 handling, 41 speed, 66 kicking, and 66 positioning. He's 28, right? And that means he would want to be first choice.
Yeah.
If he can play out from the back, and Darren Moore believes he can do the job for us, then I would be all for it if he thinks he's a better option than Cameron Dawson. But for me, I don't want Bailey back, right? And I know that's a weird thing to say, and a lot of fans will disagree with me there, but if he's not going to be our keeper, I don't want Bailey back for another season. When we've got Cameron and that, we need to start cementing that position.
Here's a catch-22 for you. Say he brings in Morosi, right? Exeter find the fund to buy Cameron. Because still, you never know, they might be able to. We don't know what he transfer thing. He might go, I had such a good time here. You know what, I'd like to just cut ties and start afresh. We're then having to look for 3 keepers.
Yeah, there's that, but I don't think that'll happen because Cam's a Wednesday fan. I think he'll want to prove himself.
He got dogs abuse, and he
That is true.
He didn't get dogs abuse at Exeter.
Would you have Bailey back on loan?
No.
Was it for the same reason as me?
It's mainly because we need something permanent. We can't keep loaning a keeper. We've had a really good history in the past of getting keepers and doing really well. If you're going to get a keeper, you can't loan it. It's got to be someone who's going to be in that dressing room for the next 4 to 5 years as your keeper. He sets the foundation to your back four. He's the one that you build that back four around to help it. Loan keepers are great if you haven't got the cash and you need to fill a gap, but you need to start looking at filling that gap to have a permanent keeper. I don't like loan keepers. I haven't done for most of my time being a football fan. I think they're great, but the only way a loan keeper works is you buy him at the end of the season, and we're not buying Bailey.
No, we're not buying Bailey. Not now. I think there's a potential.
We could have done if we got championship.
Then again, Burnley are possibly going down. I forgot how the Premier League shaping up down the bottom end.
I know Leeds are in the relegation, but
that's a shame. But no, Marco Morosi. He's got league experience. He's played 20 matches for Coventry in the Championship. He's got a lot of League One experience with Donny at Coventry and then Shrewsbury. So why not?
Burnley are just outside the playoffs on 34 points, the same amount of points as Leeds, but Leeds have minus 35 goal difference.
Cool. Yeah, just above the relegation. Fair enough.
Yeah.
See how it plays out for them. But Marco Morosi, let us know. I've got to do this. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get the clickbait comments right now. Do you know what I'm going to do?
Go on.
Kieran Westwood's been released by QPR.
I knew that was going to be the one you were going to say.
Would you?
Can you imagine him go, look, Kieran, you've had a year out from us and stuff, and you didn't get many clubs looking at you. We'll come back for another year.
37-year-old Kieran Westwood now, by the way.
Yeah.
Who made 5 appearances for QPR.
And
it was weird seeing him line up for another club.
And also, in one of those games, he was starting in the warm-up and got injured.
It's probably not a good idea, is it? We've got to talk about it because we did actually have this written into us a few times as well. Would you take him back just for the season, just to give maybe the younger keepers some experience of all of that? Is it grasping at straws situation with Kieran Westwood?
I don't think so. I think if we had a chance to sign him, like keep him for League One, we would have done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then again, Punk, you got to look at the other side of it. Would QPR be in his final payday and now he can come to us on reduced wages just because he loves the club and never wanted to leave?
That's true. That could work. But then where does your progression go in for the future you keep him for?
Or do you bring him back as player coach?
That's not a bad shout.
For maybe the 18s or something. He maybe not first team coach, but he can coach. He can coach he can work with Bully or something because he got on with Bully really well.
Bully's not here.
Of course he's not.
He's in Scotland, in Air United.
Of course he's not. I keep thinking, I actually forget because he got demoted, but he got moved to the under-23s.
I think it's Thompson that's doing the under-23 still.
Thompson played Westwood as well. We're fine.
Yeah,
we're fine. The point still stands. I even followed her after Bullen moved.
Oh, it's been a long 24 hours on it.
It has been, mate. Well, all right, give me a break. We've just been resigned to another season in the League One, but I would always take Kieran Westwood back.
Yeah.
If the wages were nothing there, but it goes into everything we were saying about goalkeepers. You need to have somebody for the future. Kieran Westwood is the past. Unfortunately, as much as it saddens me, I don't think Kieran Westwood will be returning. But we've asked it, okay? You don't have to keep asking us to ask the question now of a released 37-year-old Kieran Westwood should he come back. But I would have him back if it was a case of Kieran wasn't gonna.
I'm gonna throw one for you here. What about Richard O'Donnell?
That's an interesting one, that Jake. I wonder where that one's come from.
He's only 33.
Yeah, he's been a captain of Bradford as well, hasn't he?
Yep.
Would you take him?
33, got loads of experience. He's done really well.
Wednesday fan.
He's a Wednesday diehard fan. Sheffield lad.
Played for us. Never really got his moment with us.
Get him out of Bradford. Bring him home. He's always walking around all the reservoirs in Sheffield.
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see if that one develops at all. But Kieran Westwood or O'Donnell? No, I still think it's Dawson. I think you give Dawson a chance.
I think it's Dawson going to get the gloves this season. He deserves it.
Definitely. Oh, God, we're going to get so much clickbait comments. And I don't care. The channel's been dying in views because I've been busy. This week's going to pick it up.
I'm gonna say, because the next topic we got is talking about the accounts. But
I think I'm going to say that next week.
I wouldn't mind if we could do that next week, because we like to go in depth on them.
Yeah.
And the timing it came out for the account wasn't great with us being in the playoffs.
No, it wasn't. There was a lot of talk. We will rejig the accounts.
I think next week should be an accounts episode, because we normally go in depth on the accounts, and it's always interesting seeing what's what, and it'll give you a chance to do the math that I can't work out because I'm a bit slow.
No, I've already done parts of it, but I will. I'll do all of that. We'll also use what other people have been reporting, because Queer and Maguire's been talking about it all. There's been the Star. They've done a report on it. They got to it before us this time. We got there first last time. They got to us. No, the first time we got there first, I think. I don't remember. But yeah, they've done a very good report on it.
They have.
Needless to say. So we will be able to quote all of that and talk a bit more about the accounts.
So next week, account episode.
It won't just be an accounts episode. It'll be the news. I have got a feeling there's going to be a lot of talk, and there's also the retain list.
Yeah,
that's round the corner.
I think the last time we did like the accounts and the retain list, they're all about the same time anyway.
Yeah, this is the best. Weirdly enough, it sucks, but this is usually the best month for the channel and the podcast, because everything happens that's a little bit drama based.
And then we go through the summer looking at speculation stories and seeing what hits.
Yep, pretty much. Oh, it's all starting again, guys. Sheffield Wednesday didn't get promoted, but the Talking Wednesday podcast will continue. I will say at one point last night, I was chatting to my uncle, and I just went to him. Mate, I don't know if I want to do the podcast. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I can do this again in another league, a year in League One. Because it's one thing being a Wednesday fan and having to put up with it, but being somebody who has to actively
do content,
discuss it.
Yeah. Doing the video last night was so hard, because I was like, I don't know what to really say apart from I'm absolutely gutted. But this is the thing, when you're a fan of the club and you don't make content, you can just go, oh, so they're rubbish, enjoy the rest of your day. When you then got to go record about it, it then you overthink everything, and then you having to work everything out. But we do it because we love our club and we love making content. So
yeah, and we managed to get through the whole episode without talking about the phone tortures.
Yes, don't do that.
It was asking for trouble, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was asking for trouble. It made a good video on mine, but it was asking for trouble. That's all we've got for this week's episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Thank you so much for all your contribution. we'll be here for the 22-23 season. Thank you so much for all the support. Lots to talk about over the next few weeks. Lots planned, lots to discuss. Nothing topical, actually. There's nothing going to be time-based, so we can move the schedule around, and maybe I'll be a little less grumpy after the initial grumpiness of the playoffs wears off. But no, be well. Again, football is the be-all and end-all, let's be honest. Football is the be-all and end-all. Let's not even try and go down that road. Sheffield Wednesday are in League One for another season. We'll just have to deal. But be well, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
Start planning your trip to Bristol and Forest Green.
See ya.